Why's that?
I could leave it anytime I wanted to.
Oh, yeah. We close for lunch. We have banquet hours.
Washington, Georgia can't have a business like that. We need one who can do all that with.
Steve knows about them. How about her?
I can- I think he couldn't come.
I want to know, but she said she talked to us.
Brad, did you get out of my car? Did you get out of my vehicle the other day out here in front?
I ain't never been in your vehicle.
Well, I sure got accused of that. And I got out of my car right there in front.
It wasn't
Oh,
me.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I've been
You
accused
got
of it.
right to be in front?
Mm-hmm. I guess I'm flying right around.
Yeah, I have.
Is this yours? Oh, yeah, you got out of my vehicle right in front of the courthouse.
After they me and I started with the dollar road, you got a car just like one of them. We went all over.
It got in the courthouse before 5 minutes was,
You get a little red one?
No,
it got a black one.
No,
I got
no,
it.
Tom.
No, just a
Oh,
top,
yeah.
right, okay.
This girl walked in and she said she was confronted right off. Did you see Brad wouldn't get out of Warren March's car, truck?
I didn't start that one now.
Well, not what I heard.
No? I didn't know that one.
It's been on
Hey,
Facebook.
what we looked at you.
It's been on Facebook
Down
since
there,
that
right.
one.
I think the mile and two. We gonna get everything together.
Yeah, I hear. We're gonna talk with him today. You back on next week.
Oh, Johnny?
Hey there, how y'all?
All right, how about you?
Good.
This is Calhoun.
You don't have the front row. Yeah, I better get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but,
I just wanted to ask Mr. Robbie.
black, going in.
She didn't. I said, how's Mr. Robbie?
So, we got him home, and,
Oh, he's at home.
yeah. He's not running no races out there, but he's liking it better there.
Huh?
I'm not going back.
Like me, just not right home.
Tomorrow night, isn't it?
Tomorrow night,
Homecoming.
Yeah.
what everybody is out there.
Is
Somebody's
it
doing some
homecoming?
work out there on the inside.
I figured it was homecoming people. Get me for homecoming.
Homecoming,
On the inside?
One out here.
Or what is it that's out, tomorrow night?
Homecoming.
Homecoming.
Yeah,
I'm
they got
trying to
some
think.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
Well, that was gonna be this fairgrounds, so check, we got stuff, personnel and, okay. I got one says 1 o'clock, one says 5 p.m.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why it took you such a long time to get that mirror. Ben's bathroom.
Mine's feeling. Be
doors fixed,
Not me,
they got a mirror now.
no.
If somebody not get excited.
You know, we don't really.
Tore down that old building. It was a mess.
The one that was so bad.
Yeah,
I heard that she
yeah.
got a rake and a shovel and but that needed to be done.
Yeah, the other one, the Lions,
All right.
it's falling down. It's just got a refrigerator and a couple other things inside there.
I got this yesterday.
Don't make me go to work on Yeah, you got, you see mine. When I started doing the kilo thing, but you gotta be careful because
His daughter's involved in homecoming court.
No, I haven't had time to yet. Everything's just tied on.
Lucy, have you see
As
the
far as we know.
fairground lately? The two buildings.
One day, someone like really knows electricity,
Think that's it.
check it out and see them turn all the.
I didn't
I
hear
couldn't
that.
make everything off out there, I could.
Man, that was tearing
Somebody
down.
got that light on the outside.
This is a call meeting of the Jeff Davis County Board of Commissioners. What this meeting is about is to discuss the fairground situation. If y'all remember back the end of last year, there's pictures put in the paper, Tommy put them in there about some of the renters that rented the thing and left all kind of debris and everything else out there and how nasty it was and all that. So we had a meeting with some of the members of the Fairground Association back in the early part of last year to ask them if they wanted to, the Fairground Association wanted to keep the fairgrounds as it is or if they wanted the county to run it. And our answer was, we'll talk about it and get back with you. Well, we never heard anything back from anybody. So about 2 months ago, we had this lady that kept calling here over and over and over, sending emails, as well as phone calls, about they had to pay to get the grass cut, and she wanted her money back. So Wayne and I had a meeting with Mr. Claxton and Mike Cleveland about the woman wanting the money back. So the day we talked to Mr. Claxton in the office in there, we asked him the same question. Do y'all want to keep the Fairgrounds Association as it is, send the woman her money back? He said, well, I'll take care of sending the money back. Well, that never happened either. So Ms. Branch, after Sherry called her here a couple of weeks ago, apparently sent the woman her money back. She hadn't called back anymore since then. And our answer was, we'll get back with you. Well, we still hadn't heard anything either. So today, what we want to know is what y'all want to do with the fairground. If you want, I don't have no problem with y'all keeping it.
Well, now, she got her money back and it's already cleared the bank.
Right,
The day
that's what I
she-
said.
The day she thought my attention, I got it in the mail.
That's correct. But it happened, way after when it was supposed to happen. So the last thing the county needs is fairground. We don't need nothing else to be aggravated with. But what we want to know from y'all, what are your intentions? What do you want to do? And let's get this thing settled today.
Let me go back to it. Well, first of all, Lucy wants to make some comments.
What exactly do you want us to do if we keep it? The complaints with the renters, we took care of the problem, so I don't know what you as the board want us to do specifically we came and told you that we're changing our procedures we charge more rent, what happened at that one time was a one-time event or an unusual event. So I don't know, you had the same thing happen out at the country club. You had renters that tore the place up. So it's not that we were poor managers, it was that we had bad renters. And, I can say the same thing about the country club. So I don't know what specifically you want us to do to fix things. I mean, I just hear, it's nasty, it's not taken care of, we have complaints. I don't know how to stop the complaints because I don't know what we need to do to fix it, because I don't know what specifically is wrong.
The complaints that we're getting, that we're hearing, and the fact that it's upcoming dance tomorrow night, I've had 2 or 3 parents go to me in the last 2 weeks about the grass not being cut, which I know all that's done now, but they said they went inside, how nasty it was and all that. That's the kind of complaints we're getting. And it looks to me like when you rent it to someone and when they get through what they're doing, the next day when someone goes in there and it's not clean and everything's not like it's supposed to be, then I think they ought to go back on the people that rented it.
Have you been by there in the last few days?
Yes, ma'am.
You been by there today?
No, ma'am.
The 2 buildings is torn down. The bathrooms has been fixed.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's what I'm
And the
saying.
grass has been cut.
That's fine. The problem with grass being cut is the grass was so high that once we cut the grass, or we cut it, you can go out there and bale hay off of it right now. So the grass actually needs cutting
We had
again
a lot,
today.
we had a lot of rain out there.
I understand that, but that goes back to maintenance.
The
That
most-
goes back to looking
We've
at.
been out there since '76, and this is the most rain we've ever had.
When I went out there last week, the driveway is just full of holes. And I don't go out there every day, just believe me, I don't get up in the morning, first thing I do is go to the fairgrounds. I don't do that. But the road going into the fairgrounds is just full of holes. Well, I sent the county out there day before yesterday to fill in all those holes and level the thing down. Stuff like that, we need to be aware of. But like I said earlier, I don't get up in the morning and go to the fairground. And if we don't know stuff, just like the driveway, if we could have known that, we could have fixed that thing weeks or months before.
Okay, well, on the same hand, on token, you know that there's a problem out there and you don't contact us with that problem, how do we know it? If people call you and complain about something and you don't contact us, then how do we know that there's complaints about it?
Well, that's why I went out there for you, first of this week or last week, really on the holes in the driveway, we had to take care of this week. But just little stuff like that. But what we want to know is, I'm tired of people calling me, bellyaching to me about the condition of this and this and that, no toilet paper in the bathroom, no light bulbs in the lights. Just cosmetic stuff that somebody's got to take responsibility for,
Let me tell you
whether
about-
it's the
let me
county
tell you
or whether
about
it's
the
the
light
fair
bulbs.
association.
That's true.
Let me tell you about the light bulb. Doris Swain told me that he came out there and I opened the building for him when he worked here, and he told me, he said he carried some man out there that was seeing in the bathrooms or whatever. And anyway, he told me, he said that if we ever needed him to call. And so I called, the 4-H club was having something, and I called, and Jerry came and put the light bulbs in, but now the Fair Association paid for the bulbs.
Well, I think it's just a matter of miscommunication or no communication. Y'all get complaints, we get complaints. And we try to fix them when we hear the complaints. You get complaints and, you're in a position where you're gonna get the complaints. This property belongs to the county, that people who don't know, they just call the county and complain. I can't stop the complaints, but, if we had some type of communication between the two to go back and forth, I don't know how to fix it other than if we had something maybe in writing of what you expected us to do, and we agreed that we would agree in writing that we would do certain things for the fairgrounds, and if we had it laid out. Right now, it's just up in there. Well, whose responsibility is it? Is the Fair Association supposed to do it? Is the county supposed to do it? Well, it's their property, we're managing it, but it's kind of ambiguous, and unless we have something in writing, then we don't know what you're expecting us to do, and we don't know what to expect the county to do. And then we get confusion.
Then another thing now, we don't charge anything that has anything to do with the school or, with the, like the 4-H club. And anyway, always before, whenever I would call Bub, and we would need it for something other special, he would send them out there to cut the grass around the big, majority of it. But, when I called, back here a while back, they said that y'all couldn't be cutting it anymore, and that, and by us not, by us letting the school and all have that, I felt like we were just sort of swapping, but,
The school
anyway.
board should cut it, you think? The school board.
No, in the past, the county had, when the road departments had helped out whenever we needed it cut, they would
Yeah.
go and cut it. They didn't cut it on a regular basis,
No, they didn't.
but they cut it when we
When we
asked
would
for
ask.
it. But, see, that's one of those ambiguous, is it the county's responsibility to keep the grass cut? Is it our responsibility? If it's used for the public and it's used for county events, then should the county maintain it? It's their property. But then on the other hand, should we raise money and that's what we spend it for, is to pay somebody, a private individual to cut the grass? So I guess we've just gotten to the point that we need to have some definitive lines laid out as to who's responsible for what.
Well, our roads hadn't been cut, just like Ms. Juanita said, the same rain coming on the roads.
And if I'm not mistaken, the lady who rented it, we had 20 inches of rain and the road department was out fixing roads. They didn't have time to cut the grass. And a private person with a lawnmower would have burned up their blades because they sunk down in the mud to cut the grass. So that was the reason the grass was not cut for that particular event. And we're sorry about that. And we couldn't, but that was an act of God. I mean, when you got schools shut down for 4 days with no roads, your priority is not cutting the grass out of the fairground.
Let me make some comments. When this request, well, let's go back to 1988. I knew that in '89 I was retired. Dan Mims was chairman. Jimmy Ryle was a member. Lonnie Waters was a member. Charles Marchant was a member. I cannot name the first district representative.
Larry McKeeson.
Who?
Larry McKeeson. Larry McKeeson.
Okay. I came before the board in the spring of '88 and I said I'm retiring next year, June 30, after 38 years in the classroom and 2 years in the military, which the Teachers Retirement of Georgia gave me the privilege to pay the teachers' retirement, giving me 2 years at 40. Come June 30, 1989, I retired. I came before the commission and I told them this. I said, I've shown livestock all over Georgia with boys and girls and 4-H. I believe we need a fairground. Dan Mims immediately spoke up and said, Ms. Flaxen, I appoint Charles Marchant and Jimmy Ryle to work with you. Y'all determine what we need. Well, we went all over the state because I had been from Augusta to Moultrie, from Atlanta to Brunswick, Savannah, and all in between. And I knew the size that we needed here, at least I thought. We went and we visited. I knew the ag teachers there, the extension agents there. We saw the buildings. We asked questions. We came back, the three of us sat down and decided that with the size of Jeff Davis, we needed something like 90 feet by 200. And we came back before the board, and the board had said, okay, we put bids out. Bids were put out. Jerry White got the contract. The cost of the metal and beams for the hull of that building, main building, was $146,000 plus. You can go back and check your records here in the office. In the meantime, James Woodard was young farmer teacher. He and the young farmers of Jeff Davis decided to put up a livestock barn. I being head of the BOAG department, he and I sat down and we came to a conclusion on the size. And the FFA helped them to raise money to build that 60 by 100 feet building. And the extension has been added since. We got a grant for the outdoor restrooms, that white building out there. We got a grant from the state for the fence. The county got a grant for the deep well. When we came back after deciding that the building should be 90 by 100, by the way, we had a fair the year before. We leased a tent from a company in Chattanooga for $2,100. They came and put the tent up. It was 60 feet by 100, and they returned and took it down. And I remember Tommy Purser sitting right back here came to me on a Friday of the week of the fair and said, Mr. Claxton, when are you going to build a building? And that's when we began to think about it. And my answer to him at that time, I said, we're going to raise money and then build. He said, the people are demanding or commenting or wanting it now. So I talked with some business people here in town. I talked with some teachers. I talked with some farmers. I talked with just a general number of people. And that's when I came to board, and that's when Dan appointed, and that's when we did the other. Well, we used Garen rides out of Lake Park, Georgia for 3 years. Complaint was not enough rides. So they moved on, and since they have bought another one, and they're the only fair near us in Vidalia when they have the Onion Festival. It's a pretty large fair, but they bought another to add with theirs. Now, we then started using different ones, and 4 years ago, we could not have a fair because they all just went bankrupt or just shut down. You don't find a small fair anywhere in the state, and this is pretty well nationwide. Only things like Georgia National, it even closed Macon Fair. Then a company out of Tennessee leased it this spring and had a fair, and I am told that they didn't make enough money to come back next year. So we began to, after the building was built, during the meantime, I said to Charles and Jimmy, I said, we need to incorporate with the state, and we need to invite all civic clubs in Hazelhurst, including the chamber. There were 11. And we did. We got some constitutions from other schools, and we used a combination, went through. We employed Buck Hill, our attorney, and he drew up a rough draft and then got back with us after we had told him what we wanted in it, and he drew up the Constitution. And that's when we got incorporated with the state because of complaints and what could happen if somebody got hurt. So from that, we started with Garin, and the money that was raised was put back into the building. It was a shell to begin with. No restroom. We had to even use the white building, and I believe we leased some porta potties. Well, the next year, in the third year, so much complaint, and I had to go to Mr. Garin and told him that the complaints was you didn't have enough rides. And he says, I understand that. They were the neatest, fair group of people we ever had in 24 years out there, bar none. And they still are. But anyway, they moved on, and we got someone else, and made a little money, and then each of the 11 groups that were asked to incorporate with us, where the Constitution was drawn up to each provide 2 officers, directors if you please. And then we would have 4 additional officers at large, plus 6 additional at large. And we got organized, and 6 chose to build those buildings out there that are dilapidated. I think in the near future, they all, I can't speak for the pilot, that's Ms. Branch here, but the others have not been repaired. And being a line member, I've already mentioned it to the Lions Club, and they said we're gonna have to get rid of it. But there's some furniture in there that we need to get out and use or give away instead of destroy. The others we talked with, and they're in the process of deciding what they're going to do. It used to be the Farm Bureau, and now it's something else. I don't know what they call it. But anyway, the DPW, they closed and left the building, and the chamber used that for a number of years. So we got underground cable run to all of those, and a concrete slab in each one. And if we retain it, and I request that